can see, I got my computer in front of me. I got a lot of work to do on here, and I'm gonna be on here just babbling with y'all about how amazing and blessed my week was. It's been great. It's been a good week. Of course, it's the spring. Got all type of inquiries and things like that coming in. Whew. I've been beat. I'm live right now, baby. You hear me?
Yeah. What do you mean, on the phone?
No,
Oh,
YouTube.
okay.
But about to dial in right now and start perfecting my system. Um, my CRM. I'm going into there and making some templates to where everything's gonna flow smoothly. I got a bunch of invoices that I gotta finish processing the back end of it. It does send out automatically, but um, for a few clients, they had some change orders, which I typically send out the same day and they pay the same day. But one of my projects delayed a little bit longer than it's supposed to this week, so we just had some things that were overlapping as far as taking a little bit longer. Like I did a project with some river rocks. They added on some mulch, and it was about 5 yards of mulch spread out throughout the property, the back of the property, the sides, just to kind of give it some more appeal. They got family coming in town, so I tried to get on that and had to add that to the order. Their project would have been done on the scheduled date, but when they made that change order, it did shift it a little bit. But yep, so I'm on the computer tonight. On the computer. And I got some work to do. Usually when I get on here and I fix the problems that I know been coming in, because you don't know what's not working good until you get a bunch of leads in and and you're trying to process them out. You don't know what needs to be really perfected. So I've been having people fill out inquiries on my side installation form for my website, and the minimum is going to be $2,000 minimum, because the average ticket, that's our minimum, basically a minimum project. So if it's not reaching that, I try to tell people, hey, you probably better off going with alternative method, and still try to be helpful to them. Just like today, I had a client, a prospect, fill out a inquiry, and he was trying to get his front lawn kind of on track. He had a couple brown spots, not nothing huge. I'm talking like 3 by 5, like maybe 15 square feet. And then he had like a 2 by 2 square feet brown spot, but it was one of those things where he had an abundance amount of thatch because he had a centipede grass. I was like, hey, you got some late winter damage, you got some snow damage. Um, I say we gave him a method to where he can actually measure if it's like a fungus that's inside the lawn and stuff like that. Just giving him information, because what I'm trying to do is prevent from going to properties if they're not qualified to with their budget, basically. If their budget doesn't meet the minimum, I just stop kind of visiting those properties and try to help them from afar. And people, they so antsy about getting you to the properties, and there's no problem, because if I can waste somebody's time and they're gonna give me information, great. But I do have to figure out a way to screen that process a little bit better, because I've seen clearly that he said in the my inquiry form that his budget was only $400, and with a budget of $400, like I don't even know nobody who work on small projects, so I wouldn't suggest anybody either. So in reality, I just gave him a way to do it. I said, hey, you can do this a few ways. Just because you got a problem don't mean you have to jump to Z, jump to side, and stuff like that. And plus, this is a small project that wouldn't, qualify and meet our minimum. But this is what you can do. I say I don't recommend seeding, just because the weeds grow faster than a grass seed if you try to seed here in Charleston, just based on the weeds. But what you could do is you can actually sprig it. You can sprig it. You can actually, you know, um, get little small mother plants and plant those, and every feet from each other, and it'll fill in that area, small area. It'll be filled in throughout this season. I say, or I say, to be honest with you, you could spend less than $50 and really just put down a couple pieces aside, and you're done. I was like, sometimes you don't want to overthink it. It's a simple solution sometimes. I just fix the little spots and be done with it. Unless you got a lot of issues with your front lawn and you're trying to replace the whole thing, that's what we do. We're trying to remove a whole front lawn, back lawn, level graded, you know. And typically, I say we haven't installed centipede grass, like a centipede lawn, probably 2 years, at least 2 years. I haven't installed a centipede lawn. Majority of the lawns are Georgia, St. Augustine, and Bermuda, just because there's different cultivars of it here. We got a more of a variety. But let me go on this system. So I did a quote today, and I'm dialing into my system a little bit better. Let me show you something I use for my Christmas light business. Uh, where are you? Give me a minute. You see, type of thing, plastic thing right there, put the papers away. Oh man, I ain't tripping. I'm looking for something, y'all, and I got the phone literally sitting on top of it. That's crazy. This is what I was looking for. I got this where I do a lot of writing on some of these things here. So I actually got some ink. I'm gonna be printing out one of. I'm gonna try to hide my client's name. All right, so I know this might look crazy to you, but this is one of my my sketches that I make for a property when I'm doing holiday lighting. This is one of my Christmas light business, and it's very detailed for what I need to know essentially for a property. I'm gonna duplicate this process with my landscape business, and when I'm doing these sod installations, I'm basically be drawing the structure of the house and wherever the fences are, etc. And draw the measurements on each side if they got some landscaping or something like that. It really varies on what the project is about, but all of these sections on the side is just details I'll be capturing. And I might put the metrics on the side. I'm gonna be creating something basically for my landscape business. But I'm trying to make it to where I have a system to where I can easily do a pass off to where either my wife or my guy Scott, one of my good friends, employees, etc. He can actually be helping out with the pass off. I'll be able to pass this sheet here off. It'll have all the details in place of what is required for that property. So that's gonna be sweet. Um, as of right now, though, I need one more thing. All right, here we go. So I like to write on. I don't know about y'all, but I love to write on these right here. These sketch pages. I usually do like little sketch designs and of houses, just how I see something in my head. Wow, this right here is actually from years ago, but this is what I use today to kind of do this right here. This right here is this is a property. It shows the backyard. This is the front yard, believe it or not. I drew it too close to the top here, and I end up writing on the top of this page to just make sure I got the metrics. But this is the backyard. This is the area where, so he has a patio and it curves, right? You see how it curves? So I try not to be that person where I'm just measuring from here or for here. If I measure right here, right, and I just capture, the backyard square footage based off the width of this yard being across from here, I would be slightly short. I would be slightly short because no, I have a little bit more because it's including this, but instead I measured out this piece right here just to get an idea of the size of it, where it makes that curve, and I excluded it, and I still measured from here. You get what I mean? So I measured the whole backyard from this piece, and then I excluded that little piece. But on the side yard, the front yard, and I just put a few things that I've seen in place, like this right here. Yeah, this is like if you're looking at it from this angle, this is the correct angle to look at it. If you're looking at the house directly, this is how it looks. So his driveway is right here, his garage is right here, and then his front door is right here, and then this right here is like a little bit of landscape. It ain't the best drawing, no, it ain't the best, but it gives me an idea of what I seen, what I measured when I was there. And I need to duplicate this. So I got this sheet already that I write on, but this is what I'm gonna make it. So I'm gonna take stuff, this same thing right here that I usually create on this sheet, and I'm gonna be using this sheet, and I'm gonna keep this on file. That way I have it in the near future. So the information that I would look for to be essential on this sheet is, do they have an irrigation system? Do they have a landscaping? Like how much? Like all these details on the sidebar here. Like that's what I'm going to be including, because I feel like sometimes we miss information on properties, and I just trying to just continue to dial in and make a better system. That way, if I have someone else estimating and they see my sheets, they know exactly what to look for. I'm gonna have a spot on there where it says that the yard puddle anywhere, and I want them to put the side where puddles, because that's the side that we can focus on, like the grading, making sure we're getting the grade correct, so we don't have any type of water intrusion, any type of water flowing back towards the house, just little stuff like that. Um, is there any stumps in the ground? Any like, and then we gotta put in a submission on this form. I'm gonna put to where if we've reached out to 811 dig, 811 dig is where they go out. 811 dig is when they go out and they actually mark like the power supply, the water supply, the gas lines, all those, the electric, I mean the cable wires where they're buried in the ground and things like that. So I'm gonna include little stuff like that. I'm gonna make sure we've already reached out to them on a sheet. Like it's gonna be a sheet that we refer to. And I think what I'm going to try to do is I'm gonna have, after I document this sheet, I'm gonna take a picture of it, and I'm gonna actually I'm gonna scan, pretty much put it on file in the computer. So not only do we have a physical copy, but it's also a virtual copy. So anywhere I'm at, I have it without having the manual copy. That's just being just having another system because I do feel like there's things that don't get called out sometimes, and I want to be able to easily refer back to it. Like right now, we did an irrigation repair a few weeks ago, and I know exactly every zone at this guy's house, and we didn't install the irrigation. We repaired it, but the problem with the issue sometimes when you're doing like a irrigation repair is like you don't know where they put the valve boxes. You don't know where the heads are gonna be. You don't know what controls which zone. Some people do some weird stuff with their zones. Some people spread the boxes all throughout the property, like the valve boxes. They spread them everywhere. Some people keep them all together, and some people split them up and put them on two sides of the house. It really depends on the technician, the irrigation specialist. They do it different ways. So when you're coming in and you're doing stuff like that, and you finally figure it out. If that customer reach out to you in another, you know what I'm saying, like 6 months to a year, you know everything about their what type of lawn they have, the irrigation setup. It's just one of those things that can help you go directly in because when you're doing so many different properties, you can easily forget, you know, exactly somebody's property unless you only got like 5, 10 properties. Yeah, we're doing a decent amount of properties to the point where you can't forget the layout of some properties if you haven't been there in a while. Let me go to my lead form. Let me show y'all these leads, man, because they jumping like fleas, y'all. They jumping like fleas. Oh boy, that's what I tell my wife. Be like, yeah, they jumping like fleas. The leads are coming in. Why fleas? I don't know, y'all. I don't know. Let's see if I can save myself. Blinded. I don't want to reveal all of my information, but oh, we got 22 leads, y'all. 22 leads that we gotta reach out to. Trying to keep my information a little private, but that right there is facts. There's people I gotta get to, and get it done. Let me get to work. So I did this estimate today. And I never punched the numbers. I never added the numbers up. So I got my iPad right here. I'm gonna be locking these numbers in so I can know exactly the square footage. Um, in reality, you know what? Instead, I think I'm gonna go and just put it directly under the client's file. That way, I have it. Yep. Yeah, and the good thing about when I write it out like this and tutter and good thing when I draw it out like this, I can say, hey, if you wanted to phase this project, your backyard is the amount of square foot. If you want to do your front yard, is this amount of square foot. You know what I mean? And I can basically give the client two options versus sometimes people are sticker shock by stuff costing so much. This guy, I don't think this is his first rodeo though, because it's a new development and he has perennial ryegrass that he had, and it's dying off. As you know, we in the south, it get pretty hot. It's starting to die off. So, being that it's dying off, he's like, man, they put some sod down, but it just didn't take. Of course, I put some rye to try to, have something going on. He said, but that's dying off as well. He said, so I just want to resod the whole thing. And it's like, if I'm not mistaken, it's roughly around 6,000 square feet. That's what the plaque says. He said, but that was excluding the patio that I have. He said, hey, I do have irrigation system all in place. So, like his property, it looked like he maintained his property pretty well. He just don't have a solid grass type that he would like. He hate the centipede, like almost everybody. So it'll be easy for me to estimate the property. I do have a better price point than a lot of my competitors. I deal with like six different side farms in my area. There's one specifically that is significantly different than the others when it comes to price. But every farm seem like they have their pros and cons, right? So I got three farms that um, they all sell St. Augustine grass. The first farm, my primary one, is down right now. They've been down since the beginning of the year. I think they harvest too early last season, so they can't harvest right now until June. So you can't get Palmetto St. Augustine, you can't get the new Cobalt St. Augustine. Those two are off the table. On the flip side, there's another farm that I work with. They have Palmetto St. Augustine and they also have Tamstar St. Augustine. The quality of their St. Augustine was so bad the last time I got it. I know they got a lot of complaints. They got so many complaints that they stopped selling it. It's just the quality was horrible. When I say I had a full pallet and you couldn't pick up a full piece of like a how they sell them in a two and a half foot squares. When I say you couldn't pick up a full piece, you couldn't. It's literally like sprigs, and that was horrible quality. So they stopped selling it. So that's two side farms that sell the same stuff, same grass that you can't even get. So the third farm, what they did is they know that people are inquiring about this grass. They raised their prices. They jacked their prices up so high. But everybody don't know that, they don't know about the farm. So the people who do know, they know. I feel like as a competitive thing, people are gonna check with what other side farms are doing. And when they know that two side farms are out of St. Augustine, like you can't go to a Lowe's or Home Depot, none of those stores right now in my area, and get St. Augustine grass, and they typically have it. You can't go there because there's a specific side farm that they deal with that's not harvesting until June. So I was like, man, I got a little bit of a leg up, being that I have access to some. But in the same token, it's one of those things where you kind of just got to be dialed in to know the pros and cons. They're real costly right now, and then I got other farms that they're cheaper than everybody. Cheaper. They're like half the price. Literally, I got old school prices at this sod farm, and even though the prices are great, the cons is their soil is not the greatest. Like when you pick up their sod, it seems like it's like featherweight. There's not much soil that's holding on to it. So you can get like Xeon Zoysia, you can get Icon Zoysia, you can get Bermuda, you can get Centipede. They got a few different grass types. You can't get St. Augustine, they don't carry that. But the price of it is crazy cheap, like crazy compared to any other sod farms I deal with. And then so what that does is like I don't know, you just got to be dialed in to know what you can sell to customers and stuff like that. That's gonna be something that's quality and something that's gonna work. So what I've been doing is I've been leaning on what I know is a good product, and I'm trying to look for something that's easier to put down. Typically, I like to use the side rolls and stuff like that. So super side, they've been essential for me lately when it comes to like my Bermuda lawns. But when it comes to like if somebody inquire about a centipede, I'll put it down, but it's not typically a grass type I put down. I put down a lot of zoysia, and I put down a lot of St. Augustine. Those are my two main sellers. Bermuda has been a growing one this year just because people have dogs, and when they have dogs and that foot traffic, and it can be beat up a little bit. So I've been selling some Bermuda. The price point is a little bit more affordable than like the Zoysias and the St. Augustine, and all these different sides. They come with different square foot on pallets. So it's many different things that I consider when I'm trying to sell it to a client. But for the most part, it's really one of those things that's based on the conditions of the property. I can't If I don't see the property, I can't just tell you, oh, I can just put this grass down just because you want it. I'm not gonna put down something that's not gonna live. Period. That ain't happening. So anybody who inquire, I like to visit their property, have a talk with them, see what they use their space for, and then I make my pitch when it comes to the type of grass types I suggest. And then when I send it over, and this is the most important part, I have a, I have a, my quotes are pretty unique. It gives them a really good visual and understanding of everything that's included within the service. And it's not in a typical way. It's not like a black and white paper that just shows everything broken down in detail. Instead, it's like it's almost like they're reading a book. And when they look through my estimate, and a lot of people kind of intrigued by it, so I try to make sure I'm delivering that consistent quality to everyone. But I have to do the work up front to even make that happen. And it's just one of those things where you seeing what works and trying to perfect it and make it better. Like today, I sent out a quote, and it had it had all the details and stuff in it, but I forgot to put the area that this would be servicing, like far as the what part of the yard will this type of service apply to. So stuff like that, just making sure I'm not missing those little details. But every project, for the most part, do be different. Like it ain't all lawn renovations that I do. Sometimes it's repair work. Like one of these jobs I'm doing, it's like I think it's almost 2,000 square feet, and this is a part we're doing. I think it's 10 pallets, and this is actually going to be a project that start Monday. We're going to be putting down 10 pallets, and I believe six of them, no, seven of them are going to be St. Augustine, and three of them are going to be centipede. His backyard is centipede, and he's trying to grow grass in his front yard, but he has a large oak tree. It's a lot of shade. So I told him, hey, you're getting some sunlight throughout the day, but the centipede probably won't do best in this under these conditions. He's like, I've been hearing about St. Augustine and zoysias, and trying to make a decision on those. And he ended up going with me, and we landed on going with the St. Augustine. The crazy part is when he actually closed with me, they were still selling Palmetto and Tamstar St. Augustine. I can't get neither one of those right now. The only one I can't, well, I can get some Palmetto. It's just higher price point that I would typically pay because it's not a side farm that I usually do business with. But hey, at the end of the day, I'm going to where I can provide a client with a quality product. So if it costs a little bit more, at the end of the day, long as I have it baked into my pricing, as far as the what it would cost the client, um, everything's gonna work out. But I've been doing something different too. Well, I'm incorporating to do it slightly different because I noticed that usually I give people a price point that's like let's say $2.25 per square feet for the install inside, right? Instead of doing that, I'm gonna go back to the way I used to do things and just systemize it while having everything broken down. But because we're getting to a time where everything costs. When I say everything costs, like you paying so much for stuff that you didn't think about. I noticed I've been doing some non-billable stuff, and I was like, you know what? Let me go ahead and I got like 22 estimates I gotta send out and get to people and stuff. I say, let me start incorporating these things, being that I'm becoming mindful of the time it's taken away, and it's the things that people are just not prepared for. Like, for instance, we're doing side installations, and people they want to spend all this money on a side job, right? But they don't know what it's going to be required to actually keep that lawn up. Far as they need to irrigate it, like I need this irrigated today. We're installing this lawn. This need to be irrigated today. It need to be irrigated tomorrow. Twice a day, three times a day, or longer periods of time. Either way it go, it definitely need to be irrigated. That's like a non-negotiable. And some people just not prepared for that. So what I've been doing, and if they're not, they don't have an irrigation system installed, I'll go get like impact sprinklers, and I'll get garden hoses that has low psi, connect them both, and have it to where it actually do 180s, 90s, 360s, or whatever it needs to do to irrigate that lawn, because the success of that lawn is how I continue to grow, and that's what makes the client happy. And that's why I was like, hey, I'm not that person that's supposed to be doing all irrigation. This is a perishable product. So in reality, they're really responsible for that. But at the end of the day, if they haven't never did this before, I get it. So what I did was on my estimates, I got a $300, 250 irrigation or water hose setup fee. What does the product cost me? It cost me $20 for two impact sprinklers. It cost me like $20 for a water hose, a garden hose for 50 footers. So in reality, I'm spending under $100, but I'm getting my time back by if it's going to take me 30 minutes to an hour to set that up, which it don't take me that long. It's just one of those things to be mindful of. So you're not, doing all these things that's included within service because I'm doing it. I notice I've been doing it a little bit more repeatedly lately because I feel like the part of somebody's lawn declining is because they're not watering it like it's supposed to, especially if we're putting out granular products that need to be activated by water. They need to be watered ASAP. I don't want to put down a granular product. The sun comes up the next day, you haven't irrigated, and it kind of starts to burn the lawn out because it still let off fumes with the sun. It still activates to an extent. And if you don't irrigate it for a day, 2 days, and it's freshly new sodded lawn, you can have some real problems. So I'll actually be putting in, irrigation setup for a lot of these future clients on these estimates. So I'm trying to create the template to make sure I'm including all these things. So when I'm doing an estimate, all I got to do is choose the side type, what I know they're going with, and boom, everything is already in line as far as the things that I'll be providing for that property. And it's lined item to where I'm gonna make it to where they definitely have to sign off that they're going to make sure the lawn is properly irrigated because I don't. This stuff costs too much. Like somebody just spent like it's almost like it ain't too many jobs that we do at the 2 grand mark. But if you're doing a job for 6K and they ain't like they already spent 6K on just the install, the grass, the grading, all that. To not water is like what are we doing? Like this shouldn't be a thing. So I'm making sure I'm trying to improvise for people to have a system like that in place. And they can use like the orbit timer if they want. They can go to Lowe's, get the little orbit timer, put it on their water spigot thing, and it'll actually turn on automatically, water the lawn, and they don't have to go out and they don't have to worry about it. So that's one little thing I'm trying to incorporate because I definitely need these lawns to do what they do, especially when I got all that time invested on it establishing. And also on the flip side of that, if I'm going to be treating it for the next 3 months, these normal practices need to be implemented ASAP. So I don't know. I be on their neck a little bit. I take out my little moisture meter and I put it around multiple parts of the yard. Like I go there like a random day out of the week. I say, hey, I'm popping up. Hey, I'm about to pull up. I just wanted to give you a heads up. I'll be in the yard checking on the lawn, and they're not expecting me. So I'll go check multiple spots of that yard with this moisture meter, and it'll tell me if it's dry, if it's wet, and in certain parts of that lawn, if it's dry, that means they've been neglecting it consistently. What's up? What's up? What's up, Savage 47? But they've been neglecting the grass consecutively if it's dry. So what that tells me is I need to get to them, text them, email them. Hey, I was at checking on the lawn and I noticed that this part of the lawn, that part of the lawn was pretty dry. Please pick up the irrigation because we don't want this lawn to not establish based off of this being neglected. And it's really being transparent because at the end of the day, I almost feel like when they invest in a new yard, I feel like they spending my money because if they call me and say, "Hey, I know you installed the lawn, but everything died and we don't know what's going on," no, 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 we ain't doing none of that. So in reality, I'm just trying to make sure I'm securing myself so they don't try like it don't come to a thing where somebody try to say, hey, you installed bad grass, or and they trying to get me to redo the lawn or something crazy because some of these lawns, I ain't gonna lie, coming out of these side farms, we in April right now. That grass should be completely green, I think. But it's not all green. I'm still getting in grass from the side farms. They're cutting it fresh, delivering it the next day, or delivering it same day they cut it, and it ain't even all green, which is weird. But I got dirt on me from working today. I see. I went straight from work to work. I got off of work doing the manual stuff and came straight to the computer. It's just a lot that I've been having to catch up on, and I know I've been a little too busy. So I was like, "This is gonna be an admin night here. I'm gonna do all my catching up and get everything organized. That way, when Monday starts, everybody. I got like all these estimates that I'm about to create and complete. I actually can have them on a schedule to where they can actually automatically send out to those clients. Let's say if I want to send it out to them Monday, but me being me, I'm gonna send it out to them tomorrow. I like to send them out early morning. So I feel like when people wake up early morning, first thing they do is they look at their phone. So if they look at their phone, they see they got a new email or something that's at the top of the list. And I try to send mine around about automatically around about 6:30, 7 a.m. Right around that time where people like they're not probably getting a bunch of emails or stuff like that. And then I go on my phone, I send it. I have a text actually scheduled to say, hey, your estimate has been sent via email. You can go ahead and review it. And I have that text. Like if I got the proposal and the quote scheduled to send out on one like 5:30, 6 in the morning, more than likely they're gonna receive that text around like 8 a.m. because they may not be up. Like everybody don't get up early, especially on a Sunday. So say if they slept in, it's still gonna be at the top of their email list. But in the same token, they're gonna get that text message. And they're like, "Oh, I did make the inquiry, and this landscaper he already not got back to me." So success loves speed, y'all. So when you can get these clients make the inquiry and you send it over fast, that right there is already setting the expectation that dang, this dude. It's so many. I'm like, it's so many people that don't respond and don't send out estimates. They'll go visit a property, capture a measurement, and don't send out the information. People can't make a decision if they don't know how much it costs. That's one thing for sure. Like they want to work with you, but if they don't know how much it costs, it's like, what we doing? So getting that to them in a punctual time and communicating, having a follow up system is key. Like my CRM, it actually does some automations for me where if I sent out an email to someone, like far as proposal, and they haven't responded, it'll actually, it'll remind me, hey, they haven't opened your email, or hey, let's follow up with this person. They haven't responded in 3 days to the proposal that you've already sent. That right there keeps me in the realm of, like I sent one out just last week. The estimate was 34,000. That's a big boy estimate. And the dude, I think he's pretty serious about moving forward with like service. But I feel like I haven't communicated enough with him. Luckily, my CRM helped me reach back out to him with a formal message that's already crafted. And that right there is just a keeping that open line of communication, because I feel like the loudest will get the grease, right? So if I'm squealing far as, okay, I've already sent him the quote, then I followed up with him. I'm gonna follow up with him again, and then I'm gonna shoot him a call or text. Like I ain't trying to, haggle him, but at the same token, when I come to somebody's property and I talk to them, I give them all that value of the options that are available for their property, the different type of sides they can use, the best affordable options. If you're trying to be, if you're on the budget, this is something you can do. It's a large area. Or if you want to just do that, boom, I'm giving you so many different options. That's value. So that's one of the things that I try to make sure I can stay consistent on is getting these estimates out, because I feel like as soon as they, like, for instance, this is a good example. Last Yesterday, I have a dude that he inquired about an estimate 2 months ago. 2 months ago, he inquired about this estimate. And what he had going on, right? He said, "Man, I got a spray company that's coming out spraying my lawn, and I got brown spots and stuff like this. I don't think they're doing a good job." I said, "How long you been with them?" Because me, I'm a professional. I try not to down one company just because I'm coming in trying to gain their business. I'm saying, "Well, how long you been with them?" Because typically when you're starting out with a company, it usually take a little bit of time before you can start seeing the results of something like a weed control. It takes at least a season. You give them a season before you make a decision. I say just give them a little bit more time. Maybe they're working on improving this lawn. I don't know what applications that they've used already, but let's just be patient with them. That's what I tell the customer. So I feel like when I tell a customer that builds trust, because I ain't trying to just come in and give me some money and pay me. I could, if I really was, trying to sell something, I could say, "Hey, scoot him aside, choose me." Nah, because at the end of the day, that's gonna set the expectations pretty high of what I'm supposed to deliver. Let me be transparent and say, "Hey, it takes time." That way, when I come in and if I take over the lawn, you don't have unrealistic expectations to what you expect to happen. If you heard it from another contractor that he said, "Be patient with the company that you're already with," hey, that's commendable. Meaning, hey, he ain't trying. But on the flip side, let me fast forward. He ended up canceling that company. He's like, "Man, I canceled the company." He said, "I just don't see the results, and I'm gonna reside it anyway." He said, "I want you to reside it because you already got the measurements from our property, et cetera, right?" And this was 2 months ago. This dude reached out to me today, and he's been following up with me because he was waiting on his soil test results to come back. It take about 3 weeks before the soil test come back. I had the soil test results about a month ago, and I did kind of delay on getting back with him. So, a week, a month and a half don't pass by, and he's reaching back out, and I was like, yeah, I actually do got the soil results, and I reviewed it with him over the phone. And I was like, but it won't be a challenge, get some amendments and get that thing correct. He's like, well, man, since you've been here, he said it's been a little bit longer, but the grass is actually in worse shape. So I just canceled the company, man. He's like, I don't think they're doing a good enough job. He said, I just want, a better grass. I'm tired of this centipede trash. I was like, all right, let's do it. He's like, so he's like, man, is it gonna cost? He said, I really want to restart it, but I don't know what it's gonna cost. He said, I'm thinking probably somewhere in the 10 grand, 8 grand. I say, man, and me being me, I got a little bit of a leg up with the side farm I have. My price is significantly cheap. I'm talking about I got old school prices. Side don't get sold for these prices. I'm in $100 range. People don't sell side like that. Not that cheap. Not in Charleston at least. So being that I got that connection, like anywhere else, I know I'm paying 250 or more for centipede or Bermuda. It's don't even matter. So I'm like, okay, he got roughly 2,500 square feet. That's 5 pallets. I'm under $1,000 delivered to his property. So he's thinking like, hey, yeah, I'm thinking it's gonna probably run me about 8 to 10 grand or something like that. I'm like, nah. And even with compost, y'all, even with the compost, I'm still probably under $1,000 in material delivered. That's kind of crazy, but yeah. So I'm like, yeah. I say, nah. I say it's not gonna be that high. I say I'm pretty sure I got a fair market price. I say based on your property conditions, you got full sunlight. You're not limited to the type of grass you can use. I say you can go back with centipede if you want. I said that's an option. You can go with Bermuda. This is the pros of having Bermuda. It looks greener. It's very dominant. It's high maintenance. So be prepared to keep up with it because it can be high maintenance. Make sure you got a weed control fertilization. He's like, man, I want you to take over the weed control fertilization. Don't worry about that. He said, you're already hired. I was like, okay, cool. And he's like, I say, and then you got St. Augustine. St. Augustine, it grows a bit higher, wider grass blade. I say we got 4 different types in the Charleston area, but as of right now, we're actually having some struggles with having it in. But we do have Palmetto and Scotch Pro Vista. We got those two St. Augustines available. They're a little bit costly because it's 400 square feet per pallet. I say, but Centipede, Bermuda, you got 500 square feet per pallet. So I just giving them all these different, different options. And I say, but more than likely, if you were looking for a premium turf type, you want something that's really nice. Zion, Georgia is the most high in demand. It's a lot of people that want Georgia, period. That's what's on golf courses, etc. And you can always, you know, people be able to look at this lawn and say, hey, that lawn looks significantly different, because everybody got what the developers put in, which is centipede. So I said, we got 8 different Georgias you can choose from. And my Georgia, I can get my Georgia for around 220 bucks. Xeon Georgia. And that's kind of crazy because Superside actually sells 1 pallet of Xeon Georgia for $484. And even with another side farm I reached out to, I told him, hey, I need 25 pallets. And this, I was being, doing a quote. And he was like, man, the best price I can get you, we can do them at 390, and that's not including delivery fee. And that's 390 per pallet. I'm like, 390. I was like, that's the best somebody can do for Xeon Georgia. I was like, but like I told the customer, I say, people they charge so much for this type of grass because Xeon Georgia is a slow grower. It doesn't spread that fast. So you can imagine that when they're trying to grow this on a side farm and in the fields, they can't grow only so much through a full year term. So if they sell it off, like that's why I think that's what increases the price. Yes, it's a resilient type grass and it checks off a lot of the boxes as far as drought resistant, it can handle moderate foot traffic, etc. But it's a slow grower, so they can only harvest so much of it per season. So I think that's a contributing factor of why it costs so much as well. And I gave them a lot of game. Like people who talk to me, they be sold on me because that's the first rule of sales, guys. Got to sell yourself. If you believe solely what you're telling them that you're about to do, trust me, they'll believe it too. But if you have some doubt, if you got some doubt about what you're telling them about grass, bro, they ain't gonna believe you, and they can smell it. They can smell it from a mile away. They can smell it from a mile away if you don't know what you're talking about. So be very, very clear on if you're trying to sell somebody a grass type and you don't know exactly, the spec, like the characteristics of the grass, why it's best for them, etc. I give people multiple reasons why it's best for them. I think that's what kind of separate me from my competition. And so I even do this right here. Like I went to a property and I was like, hey, I was like, if whether you do business with me or not, please do not let a contractor come in here and tell you can have some centipede or Bermuda in this backyard. You got magnolia trees, oak tree, you got too much shade. And if you put that grass back here, it's not gonna die immediately. It's gonna die off gradually. You got first it's gonna thin out, and then next thing you know, you're gonna have a bare spot. And before you know it, you're gonna be like, what happened to my lawn? That's typically what happens. So I tell them, hey man, don't let nobody come here like another contractor tell you to put some Bermuda or centipede because it's gonna look good eventually, like at the beginning stages, but it's not the ideal environment for that grass type. But yeah, y'all, I just wanted to get up on here and babble with y'all a little bit because it's been an interesting week. Got another crazy week coming up, and another crazy week after that. The spring is going well. I ain't gonna lie. I'm blessed this spring season. I'm gonna keep this momentum going, but I'm gonna be working on this sheet here tonight, perfecting what exactly needs to go on between these two. What needs to go on between these two, and merge it together for a long reputation. Basically, I'm taking a concept that I had from my last business, putting it into this business because I think it's a system that works pretty well. And I want anybody else to be able to look at it and be able to know where we stand. But yeah, let me get to start processing these things. Do, 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 do. State daily grind, alternate exponential growth. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Uh-oh. I'm about to get off of here with y'all. Y'all see what just came. Yes, sir. Ho, 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 ho. Hold on. Let me bring it a little closer. Let me see if y'all can see that heat. See that smoke. Can you see it on camera? Can you see it on camera? Let me see. I don't know. I might need to turn the light on so y'all can see that smoke. I'm gonna show you this plate though. Yes, sir. It's going down. It is going down. Why are you looking at me, woman?
I'm not looking at you. I'm staring at the wall.
I bet. But I got work to do, and I got work to do. I don't know. Y'all can hang out with me. Y'all can hang out with me. Get in with me. Hey, that plate just arrived. I don't know about y'all. Check this plate out. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Got that mac and cheese. Got some baked chicken, some red beans, and no, not red beans. Some red rice and sausage, some green beans. I got my veggies. Look at my veggies, man. Calm down. I gotta add everything back in that I lost today. So, first thing I'm doing right now in my CRM, I'm doing a little bit of a cleanup. So some of these people I already had conversations with and see what they need. Like one of the dudes, he had a small issue with his yard. I told you he had a $400 budget. Being able to have a conversation with him already, he got an action plan. He got an action plan for what he need to do with his yard. I'm gonna archive that, and I got to put a better system in place to when people when people make inquiries for sod installations and I got it as an open field so they can tell me exactly what they're looking to spend. And if somebody is anywhere under, a $2,000 mark, unfortunately, I need to just call them and have a conversation. I owe them. I can give a conversation. I don't want to waste my time driving over there, sitting in the yard talking to them for something that they already is not prepared to afford. Um, Sometimes people will put numbers, just because they don't know what it would cost. But I know they know it costs more than $400 to do a whole, sod installation or something like that. Oh yeah, yes sir. Look, y'all see that? Did you see that? Did you see that premium service I just received? The can got popped open and passed to me. Oh man. If you ain't got you one of them, boy, you need to get you one. Oh man, my little soldier. But yeah, so I have an open field where people can put their budget. This dude put $400. If it's anywhere under a $2,000 mark, even though people don't know what it costs. If somebody's got over $1,000, okay, that means they know it costs, but they just don't know how much it costs. So I'm gonna still give them a call and just give them an idea of what something will cost. But I'm trying to get out of the phase of wasting time when I'm on properties because somebody who's looking to spend like $400 or $500, they're not an ideal customer for what I'm about to tell them it costs. Because if you tell some, if they're expecting to spend $500, and you tell them, hey, yeah, it's actually gonna be like 5,000. They like, hold on, homie. Like, why are you telling me 5,000 when I told you 500 was my budget? Well, 500 might be the compost cost. That ain't no sod. I'm talking compost. The premium compost. You're gonna spend about $400-500 just getting it to the property. That's not even including the labor to actually spread the compost. So I don't get in all those details with customers. I feel like not to say it's unprofessional, and I don't like to try to little boy nobody like far as making feel like they can't afford, like they just small bucks or something. Because at the end of the day, the goal is for me to try to help them from where they're at. That's my goal. So when I go to a property and I run into a customer that think it's only a specific price that they put on the site, I let them know it ain't that. But on the flip side, I'm gonna archive this guy's his inquiry, and now he's forced me to make an adjustment. I learned a lesson from him. He put $400, but he said he was open to other stuff. But when we got to the property, it was so tiny that I get why he put $400, but I'm not doing those projects right now. It's just too many leads coming in, and I have to do what's best for the business. And taking on a project that's not necessarily reaping a bunch of profits is not ideal. So I got to put a system in place by making it to where people have to choose the minimum 2,000, and then it goes up from there. That's the goal, because I feel like a lot of people be sticker shock. And I think I'm gonna do something different too. Not different, but I'm gonna incorporate this. Just to make help. The more people know, the easier they can make a decision. And if I make a video telling, like on my landing page, or not my landing page, actually where they're doing the format, I'm gonna put a video at the very top part of it, like my hero section, and explain to people that it typically costs roughly, you know, anywhere from 2,000 to 10,000. It really varies on the property size. Like if I got a video that's telling them the cost of it, that means it should save them on filling out my form. I don't want people filling it out and thinking they're about to spend $500. It's just unrealistic. People be having a lot of requests, but I'm learning from actually letting the system work. Shout out to my mentor. He be on my neck talking about I need to let the system do what the system do. Sometimes I make changes prematurely. Not not necessarily. I feel like I can improve something consistently if I can see a consistent problem. If I can identify a consistent pattern of something continuously happening, oh, I'm going in and make that change, because if I don't make the change, it's going to continue to cost me more time. Now that I'm going to implement something that's going to say, hey, the minimum ticket is $2,000, that a person who was expecting to spend 400, he's not going to be in my queue. I don't want people falling into the system that, that got unrealistic expectations of what it would cost. Oh man, this food busting, busting. So many inquiries, boy. So many. Oh, yeah. Archive them though, because I get people filling out inquiries. I'm about to do something on my landing page too. When these people filling out these inquiries, I've been getting people that say they want mowing services. I'm gonna put in big and bold letters, we do not mow lawns. I don't want to do that because I feel as if it's an SEO play that I'm using right now that's working in my favor. Weed control and fertilization is considered uh, lawn care service. True Green is a lawn care company. Although they're spraying lawns, it's still considered lawn care. So I'm playing off of lawn care. So if I got mowing, if I say we do not mow, it just not to say it disqualifies me, but when the bots crawl my site and they're looking for certain keywords that identifies the type of business that I am, and it don't say those, it just I feel like it's a factor where I can lose some form of rankings, but for the most part, I don't think I'm losing rankings based off of that per se, because I got like 100 and almost 150 Google reviews, and that gives me a little bit of weight of my ranking position, even over long periods of time. And I've been getting some new ones lately, so I just need to continue to do that. Stack those reviews on. Everything gonna work out. All right. Who am I? Okay. This dude name is, there we go, Mr. John. That potato was hidden. Potatoes and rice hold a special place in my heart. All right. So I'm to do some punching some numbers in. So I'm about to estimate his backyard first. Baby in there crying. Calculator.
He fired him?
All right. So I'm punching in the backyard right now. We got 13 by 25. We got 325. I'm gonna add this math up real quick. Okay. Knock off this red rice, green beans, because it's buffing. People that are going through it. Terrible too. Terrible too. What it do? What it do?
Oh man. I barely got any in it. Drink it and see how you feel.
My bad, man. I'm over here working, but that plate popped up. I had to get to it. Almost there.
He lost his house and he needed money back.
I can't be shy to
And
eat.
then when Good Burger together,
You gotta have it.
the sign with another guy was
It's been a long, long day. I've been messing around with a tiller, y'all. Been messing around with a tiller all this week. Like, my plate done. Gone. Gusto. Out of there. Alright, back to where I was. So, I need a pen for one. I'm gonna put in property. Metrics. Beautiful wife of mine gave me some game the other day. I was telling y'all. She was telling me how with larger companies, everything is measured as far as it's recorded. It's recorded as far as documented to where they can always reach back and be able to pass it off to someone else. Somebody else be able to pick it up and know exactly where it's been or whatever. So I'm going to do a better process of when I'm locking these estimates in. Like right now, I'm typing in backyard, front yard. And this is actually in the notes section of my CRM under the client's name. I might be able to flip this camera around in a second, but right now I'm gonna keep it focused on me because it's doing too much. I got a lot of information. I don't want to reveal names and all that stuff when I put the screen on. So understand when I don't show you my screen, it's because y'all see them. You might see some numbers. You might see personal people information, their address, phone number, email, all that stuff. And I don't want to reveal that stuff. Definitely not for the world to see. So I gotta have to be mindful of that when I'm trying to show you some things with my CRM because it does reveal stuff on my dashboard and just a lot of these pages. So, all right, so I got 325 feet. I hate this iPad. I got an iPad calculator I downloaded, and it sucks. And what I mean by it sucks, it gives you so many ads, so many ads. Every time you type in a number and try to calculate something, you get in a new ad. Like I'm doing one equation right now and hitting the equal sign. And probably when I do the next calculation, I'm gonna get an ad. So they try to make you pay for everything nowadays, and I don't feel like paying for no freaking calculator to remove the ads off of something so stupid. I ain't gonna say so stupid, but I ain't gonna pay for no calculator when my phone got one that I can use. 10, 8. So he sent me the plaque of his property. This customer is serious. This ain't his first rodeo. He did mention to me the estimate that I'm doing, he mentioned to me that he did Georgia his last property. I'm like, oh, this ain't his first rodeo. He know what's up. But I told y'all, you hear that? That's another ad popping up. And I just got an ad. This stuff like this make me uninstall. I need my I could use the calculator on my computer, but I don't like to be moving between too many windows. I like to just stay focused on the thing at hand. So we got boom, boom, boom. 23 times 8. It's 184. Do that again. 23 times 8. Yep, 184. Measure white, measure twice, cut once. And what I'm doing is I'm putting these metrics in for the backyard, and I think I got them all just right now for the whole backyard, and I think they're accurate to my ability. And now, next, I'm going to add all the numbers up that I measured out, separately, and then from there, it's gonna give me the total square foot of that backyard. Ah, it's showing that his backyard is 3,500 square feet. I don't know if that's necessarily true. When I see stuff like that, it made me want to look at the plat because there's ways that I can pull up properties and look at the property cards to see the exact metrics of the property. Um, but sometimes that's before a fence is put up, that's before a patio is installed. So it's something that can vary. So I try to only go to that result when I absolutely need to. The property is new, so it's probably not on the Google Earth just yet. So I can't get um, a view from the top view visual to be able to estimate if the square footage is accurate. So it's just many different ways when you're on the property and you actually capture the measurements, for them to be as accurate as possible. Because the last thing you want to do, which I did about a month ago, I measured out a guy's property and he came up to me talking, 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 talking. And the last part of the measurement was his front yard. It was a piece of his front yard that was in front of his door by his driveway. The biggest part of his project, to be honest. I excluded it. I excluded it from the project. The dude uh dropped 3 grand, boom, fast. He's like, hey, I want to move forward. And I looked at the metrics and what I was about to place the order. And this was like, still 2 weeks before his project. And I was like, hold on. There's no way his property is that small. There's no way. That front yard alone is about 4,000 square feet. I know his front yard is at least 4,000 square feet. That piece that I forgot to measure. Sure enough, I went back there, I measured it, and I was like, "Ooh, my!" And I didn't tell him that I was coming back there to measure. I just popped up and measured. He wasn't even home, but when I measured it and I seen that I didn't get that area of the yard, I was like, oh boy. I say, well, he's probably not going to move forward with service because he's under the impression that this project was 6,000, and now it just went up to like over 10K, and he went with me because I probably was that price was great if it's considered doing all of that, but to be real, the side probably would have cost that much. So I'm glad I reached out to him and said, "Hey, I made a mistake. I'm sorry, but I actually didn't estimate the front yard right by your door. That's the biggest area of your whole project." And I was like, "That's why your estimate came in a little bit lower." Um, he's like, "Well," he's like, "Well," he's like, "Oh, if it's not that price, I don't want to move forward. You could just send the money back and I'll figure something out." I was like, all right. I said, I'm sorry for the inconvenience. At the end of the day, that's my mistake. I dropped the ball on that. So, got to continue to learn from mistakes. Make sure I measure accurately and not get caught up with somebody walking up on me. And he talked to me the whole time, man. I don't know if y'all know, like, sometimes when you're doing some of these estimates, people just, they will not stop talking. They will talk about each and everything. I do not be trying to talk completely. I do try to talk a little bit at the beginning because at the end of the day, you're trying to get a feel and build some rapport with somebody who you don't really know like that. But in the same token, definitely can put you in a situation like forgetting what to measure. So if I estimate it correctly, his backyard is 56, 56 by one. 102. 56 by 102. That's the backyard. Another ad, y'all. Another ad. 56 by 102. Oh no. 56 by 102. Oh.
All done? Okay, good job.
What's for dessert?
Huh?
What's for dessert?
You good? Is that what you said?
Hmm?
You said it was good?
I said what's for dessert?
Oh, what's for dessert?
Yeah. 56. I keep getting these ads. I promise you. Alright, 56 by
Maybe my husband will take me to get something.
102.
Huh?
Oh yeah?
I'm just kidding.
We can do that.
Whatever you
What
feel.
time is it?
Oh, it's 10 o'clock.
It's almost 10 o'clock.
Time flies, huh?
Does it? Does it? Does it?
Mm-hmm.
So that metric is wrong. I'm glad I didn't go with that. 56 by 102. Because that tells me the backyard is 5,000 square feet. That's not true because the front yard is pretty big. I'm gonna go with the metrics that I've already calculated, and that puts me at 3,000 or something.
What's going on? You looking at a strange job?
This thing has so many ads. I tell you, I tell you. I don't even know how to get this junk off. I'm about to use a computer for my calculator because this is killing me. It is murdering me. All right.
Hey, that's my phone real quick. All done?
This is what it sounds like when the doves dry.
Good job. Make sure it's okay. You gonna do one? Any more chicken? Why are you so greedy? She has meat today. She's been playing over her food. Don't get my soda over on there.
She eat all her food tonight?
Yeah, bro, I'm hungry.
Yes, sir.
Poor baby.
So
Huh?
we got 320.
Is she drinking it? Alright, I'm gonna give her a couple more pieces of chicken. Since she's actually eating it. She prefers the bone though. I don't know what she'll eat this
Okay, let's clear this. I'll be forgetting so fast. I'm gonna do 1, 8, 1, 5 plus 0, 8, 1 plus
one.
184 plus 325 equals 3,400 square feet. So backyard is 3,400 square feet. That's what I'm rolling with. I don't think I would measure something inaccurate. And
Do you have a job?
I don't think that's what I would do.
But see, no. That's not something you should be angry about. You should understand and listen.
That boy is in there getting in trouble. He's getting in trouble. Oh boy. So I got 3,400. Go ahead and punch that in. 3405. 3405. That's the backyard. And then we have work the front yard. You got a 4339. All right, let's see. 43 by 39. 43 by 39. We got 1677. Crunching some numbers together, doing this estimate. I went to this property today and captured some measurements, and I'm crunching my numbers together based off of backyard, front yard, side yards. I'm putting it into my CRM, and that way, in the future, if somebody else is doing my estimates, they can help me out with it. Just to give you an update of what I'm doing while I got my head down. All right, so we got 1677. All right, put that in 1677. And we have 65 by 9. Oh my gosh, this is the lane. Oh, I shouldn't be using an iPad. Let me just use a computer. I pulled out the calculator on my computer. All right. So we got 65 by 9. 64.9. And we have 584. So we got 580. That ain't 584. That's 585. Okay. Got that. So we got the side yard, got the main part of the front yard. Now I got 39 by 20. 39 by 20. And I could do this before I pull off the property, but I just don't find that ain't my productive space sometimes. Until I get a template to where I can just punch it in. Because what I could be doing is I can already have this stuff prepared based off of them scheduling the quote, and I can already have it listed in a way where all I got to do is punch in the numbers and hit the send button. That's how smooth I want it to be. I want to be able to get these things out right when I leave that property. So we ain't got no guessing going on. Oh man, the little baby is crying. Alright, so we got that. I think I got everything. So we got. No, really, because she has chicken and rice. I hope she is nowadays. She cooks the food that she wants to cook. 61. No, 119. 119 times 7. 119 times 7. This is a dummy island. I estimated that's the area when somebody has a driveway and then they have a sidewalk on their side. Well, the grass that's in between the sidewalk and the road, we call that the dummy island. I don't know why. I need to do some more research before I just keep calling something a certain name without context. That's 833 feet, roughly. So how I measured it, this property was weird, right? So outside, the driveway is straight up. The sidewalk, the sidewalk went like this. It went straight over and it curves. So how do you measure a curve on a dummy island, right? Me, what I did was I measured the width of the dummy island, and I know that's consistent all the way around. And then I got my measuring tape and I put it in the at the very end of one, and I just took it straight through the middle of that dummy aisle until I got to the other side. So I got 119 feet and by 7, and both of the dummy islands, of course, are going to be the same size because they don't typically don't make them two different sizes. So that's 833 feet. And that's the front. We'll put that on here. Boom, boom, boom. And let's see. I think that's all, folks. Dummy on 2. That's 12. 12 by 7. 12 by 7. 12 by 7. Boom. 84. So now I just got to crunch all these numbers together. And I have 1677 plus 584 plus 780 plus 844. I mean 833 plus 84. This gives me my total square feet for the front yard. And I'm at 3,959 feet. So the backyard, I don't know what he estimated. He tripping. If I'm at 4,000 square feet in the front yard, because 3,959, I round up. That's 4,000 square feet. 39, 59. So I'm at almost 7,000 square feet of lawn space. I don't know what he estimated, but yeah, he's wrong. He's off because he told me 6,000 square feet. So let me get a total for this yard. I think that was excluding the dummy island. The dummy island did add another 1,000 square feet, to be honest. So he might not be. Yeah, he might not be off. Okay. Yeah, he might not be off. If I'm calculating 7,000, he did tell me they excluded the area outside of the driveway, the dummy island. That's excluded from this. So with it being on there, it does bring it a little bit right over that 7,000 square feet. So let me just log this in the system. That way, anybody who's trying to know this information, they can just look it up. All right. So the 12, drum roll, please. 7,364 square feet is his property size. I'm gonna round that up because it's over 60. I'm gonna say here your property size is 7,400 square feet. This is what I'm estimating. And he wants Georgia. So he wants Georgia, and I got the Georgia. I got that Xeon. Got that Xeon, got the Zenith, got the Icon. I got them all. Got them all. I gotta estimate it though now. So now that I know the square foot of the property, I can work all my magic now. I can work out the logistics of the pallets that's needed, the grading, and I can get all that cost together just based off of the square foot. Typically, at one point, I was just doing like I was breaking down and saying, "Oh, what? I'll just do $2 per square foot, 175 per square foot installed, meaning including materials." So if it's 7,000 square feet, I would be at roughly, let me see, 7,400 times $1.75. Let me see, what's the price of that? We would be at roughly boom, 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 $12,950 for his job. But I started to get a little bit more dialed into the details, Every property is different. Sometimes the cost, we got new costs. I feel last year the landfill didn't used to charge so much. They charged $150 now per ton. So $150 per ton, you better make sure you calculate it on if you got to make a dump run, because if you're not estimating that it's gonna cost you, you know, $800 to dump this stuff, that's a big chunk of change that you have to make sure you got included within the price. I've gotten smarter though with my process of removing a lawn. I'm trying not to remove no soil. That soil need to stay on that property. I'm using a Harley rake. I'm either using a Harley rake or, a side cutter, but I'm removing that top layer of material. That way I can keep it as light as possible. I can almost put it in bags, like loads bags, and put it by the roadside if I need to, instead of removing that soil. Because when you start removing that soil and loading it on that dump trailer and you take it out that landfill, and they put it across that scale and you dump it and come back, it's gonna hurt your feelings. I went and I looked up and I had my ID for my landfill where I dump. I'm located out of the city, so instead of me, she told me, she said, you got 6 tons here. It's like 574. She's like, so typically what you would be paying is $574. Like, really? She's like, yes, but being that you're a resident, you got a discount. It's only gonna be $100 a day. I was like, yes, sir. But that gave me a lesson to say, hey, those projects that you got coming up next week, the week after, better make sure you got your ducks in line, because if you got to make any type of dump runs, it's going to cost you significantly, and that can eat the profits. If you're not calculating those costs and you're making a landfill run, it's going to eat up the profits. Just what it is, especially if you got labor and stuff like that. It's a lot that go into it. I was talking to my one of my buddies in the area. I say, bro, I know you own a skid steer, but I noticed when we did that last project, you took out a lot of soil. We didn't need all that soil taken out. Like, I know we need to correct the grade, but if anything, we need to repurpose it and just slope it. Because the thing about grading is sometimes there's not abundance and amount where you can't correct it to an extent. It's a skill. It's a skill to know where you can add more and how to slope it so it can drop off and they don't have any water flowing towards the house. They did a really good job at it, but we could have, like, we had a spot where we removed some stuff in the back. He could have easily put that extra dirt in that backyard on those spots that we removed all those shrubs. We moved like 30 shrubs out of the way, so we had like deep holes where the root balls and stuff were. We could have used that to fill those holes and level that area in reality, but instead we put that debris inside the dump trailer, took it to the landfill, and it worked for when it worked. But I feel like every project I'm trying to learn a lesson, because I ain't trying to let something cost a crazy amount of money, man. Because we're in a new day and age, and you better be very mindful where every dollar is going, because they get ugly, boy. They get ugly when you do a large project for thousands of bucks. Just you had to waste 2 grand on landfill material, on dumping stuff at a landfill, and you didn't include it in the price. It don't feel good. So we didn't do that though. We kept it. We're very diligent with that. We had to figure out a plan. So he was like, "Hey Rob," he said, "I know a place where I can dump for free, as long as it's clean soil. This right here, this trailer, this is clean soil. We managed to get it, make it clean." I was like, all right, well, you haul that out. We split up, we made that work. He went out to a different city, I went out to a different city, and he picked up the river rock, I picked up the compost. We met back at the property. We had 8 people working. It was 7 of us on hand, and then we had one other person come. But it was a decent sized project. That customer's so happy. And one thing about it, I ain't gonna lie, Keith Kalfas did say this in one of his older videos. He said, man, when clients see you out in that yard working, they see all this stuff going on, they feel like they can start adding extra stuff. He said, be prepared for 30% more than what they already spent. They're gonna spend more just because they see you actually working. I kid you not, these last few projects, every one of them, everybody wants something extra. And it's like, you know what? This wasn't the request at the beginning, but hey, we can do this change order and you can add this. And sure enough, the dude added, 5, 6 yards of mulch, which, hey, like you said, it's an increase and increased the ticket price. But I was like, man, it's a lot of work we going into these projects. I'm getting tired, man. I've been working on this estimate for a little minute. I got the numbers on it. Got the 7,400 square feet. I got it saved in my system under my property metrics. Now I'm gonna just make sure I can get back to it. So that's saved, and now I need to, cause I got like 5 estimates when it comes to solid installation. I'm sending out, and I got 22 leads that I got to follow up on. Those are primarily lawn care requests, as far as people looking for weed control and fertilization. They found me. They're trying to get a quote, and that's something I can estimate. But I'm trying to put eyes on properties nowadays versus just visiting them and performing services. Because I mean, visiting them and yeah, performing service because you don't know what challenges they could be having with the lawn, like running across a lawn with Dallas grass, crabgrass. Some people have unrealistic expectations of what you can eradicate out of the lawn. They think you're gonna come out there and put this magic dust on and everything's just gonna disappear. It ain't that sweet. It's usually a process to get stuff out of a lawn. But yeah, I've been on here for an hour and a half. I'll probably jump off of here, head to the store with my wife. Spend a little bit of time together because I've been dialed in all week long. Hit the like button if you catching this video. If you can look at any of the information that was valuable, that was helpful, just hit the thumbs up, drop a comment or something. Let me know that you heard me. But I'm gonna get going. I need to go get some hauls. Been doing too much this week, and I've been starting to lose my voice. Holler at y'all later.